Okay. There we go. Once again, I'm Pablo. I guess I'm just having an identity crisis. I'll always be Pablo. Sorry about that. Somehow I had signed out a restream. And yeah, we didn't want that. Otherwise, I can't see your chat from all over the place. Hopefully that didn't screw up the connections, the YouTube and Twitch, or YouTube and that other thing. Facebook. Yeah, that one. Do we have anyone out there from Facebook, and are we connected? Here, we can look here. Crap. I might have just screwed us on the Facebook event. Oh well, there I go. Sorry, Facebook, I blew it. All right. Yeah, it just says an error here. See how I have 2 or 3? So it started the event, but then when I stopped streaming, I think it shut down the event. So I might have blown it for the Facebookers. Oh well. See, it's never easy. Somehow I got signed out, and there we are. All right. Well, hello everyone. Sorry. Today we're gonna play with a 14mm pearl and a skull, I think. I know. I'm gonna get yelled at. How is everyone doing? Do we only have 7 people? I'm so confused. Oh well. Once again, what can I do? I'm trying out here. It's weird. For like 2 days, my stomach has been on fire. I don't drink soda, and I drank like, at my friend's house, their water was like brown. And so all they had was soda, and I drank, oh, cool. Under normal circumstances, critiques are the last Monday of the month. But if we slow down or something, I'll happily look at it. Hey guys, I'm glad you joined the class. That's awesome. I'm making videos for my education platform right now. So hopefully by the first week of October, we'll have the education platform done. That's super exciting. Sculptris Pro, turn that off. Is everyone excited about the video stream tomorrow about where is it? Hold on. Sneak peek 2021 tomorrow at 11. Woo! Very exciting stuff. Hey Saeed, how's it going? I'm not feeling the greatest. It's not good. Not very good at all. All right, let's look at the, hold on. Let me split this up. Boop, mask, boop, mask, split masked points. There we go. And now I can duplicate that. If I can remember where my duplicate button is. And we are going to move you down here, because that's the one that has history. And we're going to undo this. Turn that one off for a sec. Did I duplicate it again? Do I have like palsy? Am I like duplicating things all over the place? Oh man, it's going to be one of those days. All right, so that's our original. Let's take this and I'm just going to hide it down here just in case I actually, no, that's 7. So, okay, we can delete that. That's the original. This is the one I'm working on. Turn that off. Hey. You are funny. Hide part. Delete hidden. All right, there we go. So now let us turn transparency on. Project. And let's get some of this tied to the pearl surface. Oops. Do not have symmetry on when you're using the project brush. Important. Hey, Mikey's, how we doing, my friend? Yeah, I have no real easy solution. I think I'm just going to have to give you my log on. I think that's the solution we're going to be stuck with, my friend. All right. I'm going to apologize to everyone right now. I feel kind of crappy. My stomach's on fire. I had a soda. I don't drink soda. And had soda the other day, and my stomach's been on fire ever since then. I don't know if I blew the chemicals in my stomach or something, but yeah, it's very unpleasant. I did. I got the first one done. I actually got it done and posted. I don't know how good it is. We'll see, won't we? I'll send you the link. I'm ridiculous that way. I just, like it's not like I don't know the material, for God's sake. I don't trust myself making videos yet. As far as how informative they'll be, live, I mean, and here, obviously, I obviously understand the program enough to teach, but when I make these videos, I'm always insecure, which is super funny because like I can talk live to anyone. I don't have any issues with that. It's just making comprehensive videos that aren't boring. It's tricky because there are a lot of videos out there that just suck. And I don't want to make things that suck. Sadly, I'm kind of a perfectionist that way, and so my quantitative video making suffers because of it. Give that man a cookie. So as you can see, since I'm making an interaction with this pearl, right, what I'm doing is I'm going to sculpt from the skull, and then we'll separate everything out later. Maybe it'll be multiple materials or whatever. I have a 14 mil pearl, and I figured Haven't made a skull ring in a while, so we'll make a skull ring for the 14mm pearl, right? All right, let's take this down. Let us duplicate this first of all. I don't understand. Oh, there it is. I do understand. See, I'm kind of... I'm in pain. All right. I'm sorry I trashed everyone on Facebook. For all those on Facebook who can't hear me, sorry, guys. My bad. I blew it on that one. Honestly, I don't. I think it's a Tahitian. Tony said he had a 14mm pearl. I should make something around it. So I have no clue what color it is. I know it would be much nicer in black, but actually, white pearls have. I mean, you know, a nice pearl is a beautiful thing, no matter what color it is. I like. My favorite is avocado pearls. Oh, they're so cool. They're almost like this color, except they're that avocado green. Oh, they're so neat. And there aren't a whole lot of them around. And I guess this one guy in the Cook Islands had them. He would trade. He loved the color, and he would trade them with his buddies. And like, I don't know if you've ever seen pearl farmer like homes on the Cook Islands, but like literally, it's a square with a sand bottom and like a bed over in the corner, because you know it's out on the beach. They go out, they do that. I mean, not saying they don't actually have homes, but that's like where they stay, you know, while they're harvesting. And I guess this guy had a pile of these avocado pearls, like, you know, 4 feet tall, and no one wanted them. They were you know, people didn't. The color wasn't fashionable, and then all of a sudden it hit, and this dude had like the access to basically all of the avocado pearls in the world. And so he became an incredibly wealthy Cook Islander. Let's not Dynamesh. Let's ZRemesh this. We've duplicated it. Yeah. And let's take this down to... Look at that. What the hell? Interesting. For those of you who don't know, this is how you add things to a custom user interface. Come up here into Preferences, Enable Customize. For some reason, this user interface doesn't have these in them. We're looking for ZRemesher. Grab these and drop them here. Sometimes you don't store the user interface or something like that, and it just... There it is. All right. Preferences. Turn that off. Save UI. 2020 fixed. It's going to change soon, so it doesn't really matter. 2020 fixed. CUI. Oh, it just hurt. Preferences. Store configuration. Boop. And now those will be there. Alrighty, let's ZRemesh this. I'm going to take this down really low. And we're going to turn symmetry on, because I want it X symmetry. When you ZRemesh, you can use symmetry. So ZRemesher, detect edges, not necessarily important. Turn adaptive off. Boop. So how are we doing, guys, while this is going on? Did anyone do anything fun and exciting this weekend? Sorry, I think that my page still says... are we still... Yeah. Everyone still thinks I'm Pablo. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., 2021. Exciting. I'll tell you what, I don't know crap about UVs. It's so funny. A few betas ago, they introduced the where you can unroll your UVs and actually sculpt on them. And I got it to work really cool. And then when it launched, it didn't do what I want. And sadly, you know, when you're working, I'm not really exploring, so it wasn't really in my workflow. And I lost what I was doing psychologically. I was like, sadly. What is going on there? I see, that was a crappy remesh is what that was. Let's remesh one more time. Whenever you get weird remeshes, you can come back in and smooth them and then remesh again, and it'll try to fix. See how it kind of tried to fix that? I'm still getting this weird geometry right here. All right. That'll take care of itself in the reprojection. So that's fine. All right. And now we turn this guy on. We turn this guy on. We turn this guy off, and let us project all. I would say you'd make perfectly wonderful models. Stop being like that. It's just a lot of work, man. Just a lot of work. Lots and lots and lots of work. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, hold on. First of all, it's a 13 million poly. Let's... See, I'm being distracted. I apologize. I wiped out Facebook. Now I'm trying to project 13 million poly models on this. I'm a mess today, and I hurt. Everybody gets to hear me whine and cry today. Come on. Escape. Stop it. Well, I went and bought Tums. I was assuming that's what these were supposed to be for, but I just keep eating them and that doesn't do anything. I signed on, but I somehow or another I got logged out of Restream, which provides the chat, you know. And so I started. I noticed my chat wasn't coming up. So I ended the stream and then I restart it. And I think Facebook just viewed it as I ended the stream and it didn't bother relaunching. See, we only have 2 things here. So I blew it. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Come on, escape. And there's one thing I wish ZBrush was a little more effective at, is escaping when you get into dumb crap like this. I accidentally hit divide too many times. See how we have 13 million polys, and I tried to project that. And sadly, this machine, when streaming, it does not have enough juice to play that game. All right, I'm not waiting. We will just relaunch ZBrush. 2021, tomorrow. Woo! Tomorrow. Oh look, at least it quick saved fairly recently. That's a good sign. All right, we can cope with that. We didn't lose too much there, did we? Let's give this just a touch more. Wow, that's a mess. Interesting. All right, I guess we need a little bit more. That doesn't leave me as... Wow, that's some weird geometry going on there. I'm all sloppy today. There we go. That's a little bit more what we're looking for. Now let's turn this guy on and see where we're totally off base because I had to look at that. Oof. Oof. No, it just happened the other day, I think. So I drank a Coke for the first time in like 5 years. And the water at this place was like completely brown, and I just wasn't drinking water out of that tap. I normally drink water. I don't really drink soda and crap like that. And ever since then, my stomach's been burning. So I don't know if I burned my stomach with the soda or if I magically got an ulcer overnight, or who knows. The magic, right? But sadly, I'm in a little bit of pain that I don't usually deal with, so it's a little weird, if that makes any sense. And, you know, of course, everything compounds where something's new and weird physically, so you don't sleep well, then you sleep on your side, now your back hurts. Bleh. All the joys of being a dork. Sure, but I don't think anyone's going to assign me morphine because I got a stomach burn. I don't know, that might be a little overkill. I'm not a big pharmaceutical fan. I don't think those industries have our best at heart. As our opioid crisis shows. Nope, that's the wrong brush, Tomas. Wrong brush. All right, that's kind of close. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Is that better? Better? Better. Sorry, I'm also talking a little low. I'm fairly low energy right now because I'm in pain. I'm such a wimp. It's like I have a really high tolerance for pain, but it's usually things that I'm used to, like. But weird stomach burning. It's just weird. I don't know. Boop. All right. That's real close. All right. Project. Actually, I'm kind of a dork here. This was not the wisest remesh. I need to cut its face off because I need detail up here, not in the face on this one. I know. I can? Well, then maybe I'll try that if it doesn't go away. No, I think the pharmaceutical industry is the devil. The complete lack of concern about the actual problems or needs and just how can you make the next buck? Alright, because actually I only want this around here, I think, so we are going to delete hidden. No, we aren't. I want a cleaner line than that, so we're just going to trim this. Excuse me. Control 1. Turn that off. Let's go to trim rectangle. I think we can get rid of Let's keep that eyebrow. I just deleted everything. Why are you being like that? This is another really good thing lazy Nezumi is good for. You know, when you try to rotate, there's always some wiggle. Well, the single line here allows you to rotate on an axis. So it's really nice because it allows you to not have that rotation problem when you're, or that squirrely issue when you're rotating. There we go. All right, let's do this. Let's remesh this now. And then we'll have better use of that ZBrush. No, lazy Nezumi just it just sort of sits on top of any program. I have yet to find one that it doesn't, at least graphically, that it doesn't lock to. So basically, this is free floating, right? So it started out as a Photoshop plugin, but like, so, you know, for drawing circles, you know, it's just for the drawing circles, it's something that ZBrush doesn't really do. So it's a really useful tool, honestly. Boop. Project all. Yeah, no, you just hit Control-1 and it locks to the screen. And, you know, here, let me show you. What do I have? Oh, here, we can do it to this one too. So this is mischief, right? And so you draw, but if you come here, touch the box. Oops. Make sure you've touched lazy Nezumi, and then you hit Control-1, and you'll see it flash. Oop. Stop it. Stop it. There you go. Right. So, obviously, having these two windows isn't being super helpful, but right. So it works on anything that has like a window. Like I said, I've yet to find something that it didn't lock onto. So, yeah, I find it to be an incredibly useful tool. And of course. Yeah, I find it to be invaluable because, like I said, one of the few things you can't do in ZBrush is draw circles on surfaces, really. And it allows you to, so it's nice. It's nice. I use it a lot. And then I just turn symmetry off when you use project. So you can see this pushes this down. But if you need to pull the surface up, hold down Alt, and you can see that it's pulling the surface up to us. So you can use the Alt to pull. You turn Alt off, it goes down to the surface. So once again, I apologize. I'm not forming sentences perfectly well here. No, I just did that. All right. Well, the benefit of drawing a circle is that I can turn symmetry on, turn this on. I can take this and I can come in and match my brow line here, let's say. All right. And let me draw a size a little lower, clay tubes. Right, and I can, if I want something to be like a hard surface model, this allows me to come in and, you know, work on these at any angle on the model, right? And then let's say I want to exaggerate it out this way so it's an arch. And then that can be relative to something up here, right? And these are the same arches, you see. So it gives you control over, and you know, if I want it to be at, you know, that angle, now I'm drawing at that angle. So it just allows you to do a lot more things than you can within ZBrush. Well, and also let's say you're doing a band, right? And this is already distorted, but I believe it's still in the center of the world. Boop. Let's go back to this and come here, and let's say we're going to do radial symmetry. So I'm going to go to Z, turn X off, R. Let's do 45. Hold down Control, move this over here. And now right. So that's something that you just can't do alone in ZBrush. So it allows you to do a lot of things like that. Also, like I said, if you need something that's off circle, right? Let's say this is going to have a different curve. You come over here, turn that off. Turn it X and Z, radial symmetry off. Turn this on. Move this roughly to the center. Drag that right there. Drag that out. Drag that out. And I can bring this up. And so now, change the draw size. You know, you can get really nice transitional changes. That you would have a very hard time doing any other way and controlling, right? So it allows you to really, you know, it's just a lot of stroke control, basically. basically, how do you cut an inside ring to make it thinner or wider? Well, normally I'm dealing with ring sizes, but I have a mandrel right here. This is the exact measurement of this ring size. This is a 12.5 ring. And so if I were doing a size 13 ring, I would just bring the mandrel for a size 13 ring in and use it as the Boolean cutter or a projection tool. Is that what you're asking? Oh, thicker. Well, honestly, I would just sculpt it. I mean, I would just add material, because this is just my base shape right now, right? This is going to get substantially more, I would literally just come in and sculpt it thicker. Whoa, that's why it's all weird. I tend to find most of my solutions are just sculpting it, right? No, of course. Well, I would say that I'm a jewelry designer. I'm not a bench jeweler. I'm a sculptor. So, I don't have a history in jewelry design. I don't have a history in jewelry manufacturing. I used to work in the film industry. And then I made some skull rings for a certain pirate film. And then everyone was like, oh, you need to make skull rings. So I started making skull rings, and I left Hollywood, and skull rings seemed to be an interesting thing. And I was using Matrix, and then I discovered ZBrush, and it's been 16 years, and ZBrush is finally being accepted in the jewelry industry. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that one. But in that time, I've worked with a lot of bench jewelers, and I know quite a bit more about jewelry manufacturing than I did. But I still, I could cast a ring and sit down and do the bench work on it, but it's not what I do. I do this, I print it, and so I'm more a jewelry designer than a jeweler. Sure, I have lots of pave tips. Don't do it. For the most part, I think all of these programs that have pave stuff is absolutely absurd, because for the most part, your jeweler, your stone setter doesn't want you setting up their pave, because unless you know about pave, all you're going to do is screw it up. And they let the gem setter do the gem setting, and good pave isn't preset. It's done, raising beads and drilling your next hole and raising beads, and they don't want you doing that. If anything, you just really piss them off. So I think any of the computer stuff that does pave stuff, I think silly. If you're getting that massive pave stuff from India or China where they're casting the stones in, then sure, you need to do it. But I'm not really interested in that mass marketing stuff. I think it's sort of the death of artistry and jewelry. Oh. Yeah, all I know is if you have a stone setter that wants you to do the pave in CAD, I would never trust that person. I would never trust that person to do my pave. That's absurd. I mean, like I said, there are few examples which I can see someone wanting that done, but yeah. Whoever, if there's a stone setter that says they want you to do it, I would never use that stone setter. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with that person. Because let's face it, good pave is done by hand. And I really, actually, I'm very, very disappointed in contemporary pave because there's this whole quest of, keeping all the stones exactly the same and really, really straight lines. And I think it's the most boring thing that could have ever been done. I mean, good pave uses different size stones and there's motion in the stone setting and it's beautiful. And now, might as well be set by a machine. It's all just straight and boring and it's horrible in my book. Even things that are beautiful. God, I wish I could remember his name. Remember the guy I used as an example, Mike? He's world famous. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. Having a brain fart. But he's using from like 3.5 carat stones down to 0.8, in these flowers, and they're just, he's using bigger stones in bigger areas and tinier stone in tinier areas. And you get this beautiful surface motion as opposed to just line, perfect size stone, all in the same order. It's crap. Well, just getting people to accept the models was the big one. I mean, everyone's like, oh, ZBrush doesn't have scale, and oh, ZBrush doesn't have this or that. And it's like, well, yeah, it does actually. It's just, it was just getting people to wrap their heads around it. The other big thing is, for the most part, you very rarely wind up with wax models with as much detail as I can get into a ZBrush model. So I wound up with a lot of people just not being able to produce my parts, What is going on here? There we go. No, well, why would you? This is the most, I mean, look at this. Hold on. We go to, it's going to, what, 100,000ths of a millimeter, right here. There's no other program that's going to give you any kind of accurate. I mean, this is as accurate as anything on the planet. I don't understand why you would use a different program to do it. I mean, like I said, as far as actual accuracy and stuff, you're not going to get anything that is more accurate. I think that CAD has put forth the greatest scam in history in thinking that jewelry is accurate. And it's not. There's no such thing as an accurate CAD model the first time you do it. You have to print it. You have to measure it. You have to reprint it or regrind it. I mean, there's just, everybody thinks that there's this, oh, it needs to be 1/100,000th of a millimeter accurate, CAD, and it's just it's false. The jewelry industry is voodoo. It's not science in that context. It's all, alchemy. It's not, if there's too much humidity in the room, you get less shrinkage in your investment or blah, blah, it's voodoo. It's not science. And anybody on this planet, I'll put a challenge to anyone on this planet that you make your first model and I'll make my first model, and you will in no way, shape, or form be more accurate to the numbers than I am. Now, if you already know that your shop is at 3.2 shrinkage rate, because first of all, you lose in the wax, you lose in the investment, you lose in metal shrinkage. So there's no way in hell that anyone is going to be accurate that first time, let alone, no, it needs to be 1/1000th of a thousandth of a million. That's all just BS. It's just, it is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. And I get it all the time. And only until you know, because different printers have different shrinkage rates and blah, blah, blah. There's no such thing as accuracy in jewelry. Think of fabricators. They're drawing wire through a plate. You're not going to put a caliper on that drawn wire and it's going to be exact to 1,000th of a millimeter. That's not real. It's not real. And it's the greatest hubbubby, boozy woozy yabber babber that I hear all the time. And I don't care who you are, that is not real. Oh yeah, Scale Masters. You can see right here, right? So I have Scale Master pulled out. So I had this pearl, right? So I'm going to go, okay, well, I'm just going to change it. So I have the sphere. I know that I have a 14.2 millimeter pearl, right? So I come in here, turn off all sliders to subtool size, boop. And I know that I'm 14.02, or let's 14, we have digital calipers, 14.002, right? So we come in here, we type in 14.002, enter. And now resize subtool, boop, and there you go. And now we go sliders to subtool. Oh goodness, I lost 1,000th of a millimeter just there. It's just 1,000th of a millimeter is not a real number in manufacturing. And anyone who says it is, prove it to me. If you're milling pieces, yes, you can. You can definitely get that kind of accuracy in milling. You sure as hell aren't doing it in casting. It's not true. It's just, and it's like the biggest scam ever, because everyone's like, oh, well, that's not going to be accurate. The first one's never going to be accurate. You need to take a caliper to it. You need to measure it. You need to see what your shrinkage rates are. For like mass manufacturing, right? Of course, it's important for that to be like your manufacturing molds to be as accurate as possible. Because if you're going to run 1,000 through them, you can't have it sloppy. But I don't care who you are, you're not getting that out of the first CAD model, right? You're going to print it. You're going to cast it. You're going to measure it. You're going to redo it. Then you're going to run it again. And you're going to run it again and run it again. And see if over 4 or 5 castings, if it changes dramatically. If it's 2 up and 1 down, then you add 1.5% to your thing, and now you're going to be close enough. Because once again, with stone setting, it needs to be so accurate, blah, blah, blah. You take a setting tool and you go, you're telling me a stone setter can get that seat within 1,000th of a millimeter with a Fordham and a setting bit? BS. And when it's open, you sit there and you hammer the damn thing closed. It's a lie. And it is the most insane thing I've ever heard. I've gotten into fights with a number of manufacturers. And I was like, let's do it. Print your model. Let's see what you got. I'll print mine. You print yours. You cast them both. What do you get? What do you got? You know what? It's never right the first time. But hell, when I was doing my skull rings, I would only produce them on the full sizes, and I would just grind up the half size. That's how accurate I cared about. And you know what? It fit. Who cares? It's just, accuracy is just like one of the biggest, because, you know, we have these $1,000 computers or tens of thousands of dollar computers. You know, we want to preach this BS accuracy. It's not, you know, and nor should it be. Take a file, squeeze it around, push it around, hit it, hammer it. It's pliable metal. Get over your silly accuracy stuff, you know. Yeah, of course there's weight volume tools. Boom. Here's my skull. Where's my Kitco plugin? Get metal prices for subtool. Close holes. No, I got these in a few years ago. There you go. Kitco spot metal quotes. The volume of this is 1.4 milliliters. It gives you the exact box dimensions. These are your metal prices to the spot quote today. That's, wow. Holy Hannah. Has it really gone up that much? Hold on. I'm looking at something that's kind of giving me a horrifying idea. Hold on. Where's Kitco? Jesus. That's crazy. Silver's up to 30. Oh my God. This is ridiculous. 3 weeks ago, that was like 14. Okay, a month, 2 months ago. Gold broke 2,000. Holy Hannah. That's impressive. Ridiculous. So, yeah. And so there's that. But also in analyze selected subtool, choose millimeters. And here it actually gives you, it's a watertight mesh. It gives you the volume. It gives you the surface area. You know, I mean, no, there's analyzing tools. There's actually draft analyzing as well. Yeah. I know, it's just, it makes me want to cry. You push that button right there and it tells you the weight. I mean, weight completely depends on the metal, right? And that's why the prices are, so let's go back to Kitco. You can see here, right, 18 karat gold is 15 pennyweight, and then 10 karat gold is 11.7 pennyweight. So the density of the metals, right? So palladium, platinum is 18.9. Platinum rhodium mix is 19.5 pennyweight, where 22 karat gold is 16.8. You know, so yeah, your weight compared to your volume, right? Your volume's always the same. Your weight changes because of the specific gravity of the different metals. No, hold on. I'll show you draft analysis here. So, oops. Draft analysis. Let's just move this to the front here. I have it set up over here. From draft, I have a 2 degree angle set, right? And I just go boop. I push from draft, and it's going to look at our model. It's going to give us 2 different polypanes. Boop. Oh, this is obviously, this is at a different angle. Hold on. Here, let's do something I can move without trashing everything here. Let's go U, duplicate, actually Control Z, no, delete. Let's just append. That's fine. Delete. All right. Draft angle 2 from draft. Why is it doing it from the bottom? I have my angle set at the wrong angle. Oh, because that's not front. Never mind. For God's sakes. Okay, let's try this again. Front. You can set the draft angle. I just had mine set to front. All right, so let's get that kind of from draft. So there you go. You can sort of see a slight red there because it's 2 degrees, right? And there you go. That's your draft. So the red, right, isn't there, is under. And there are a couple ways of handling it, you know, as far as how you want to get rid of the draft. Often I will then go to from polypaint. So now I've created poly groups from these polypaint groups. I will come in here, flip it. Nope, I had it right this time. Make sure it's straight. I'll just drag it straight back. And then just expand it a touch, boop. And now you have, oops, right? And then you dynamesh it and get it, but that's how I deal with my draft angles. You can see because you're dragging back, you have these little cracks. Sometimes when you dynamesh it, often these will just seal. If not, you just kind of go and inflate it in and re-dynamesh and you get rid of that. No, so we've just done that, right? And so I'm going to, let's just dynamesh this low. Just so we get through it quicker, right? And now just tap it again. So when I did that, I changed the geometry, right? So we'll do it again here. Boop. Hold down mask. Why aren't you? Okay. Oh, because it's not a poly group. So these aren't poly groups yet. So from polypaint, now they're poly groups. So when I tap this, I can mask, boom, flip, W, drag this back. And like you said, or like I said, this actually was pretty sloppy because this is low res. Because it's low res, those are, sorry. Divide. Because it's low res, right, it can't, it's not getting an accurate, delete lower, bump, from draft. Right, so now you can see how that's a lot less aggressive because we have enough mesh to get that angle in, boom. Why is that doing that? Boom. Why are you doing that? That's super weird. That's a glitch. See how that's the old geometry? Hold on. You know what we didn't do? I didn't do a new from polygroup. From polypaint. There we go. Down. And then just, no, you have to do it from the center. Stretch that out some, stretch that out some. Bring it back in. You can see you now have a draft angle. I'm just making that up. You can obviously be a lot more exacting. Dynamesh. Oh. I'm not supposed to be this crackly and crunchy. Yep, right here. Draft angle 2. You can change that to be whatever you like. And then you'll get the red line right where it'll show you anything that's under 8 degrees, right? All right, and so I would go back in there and smooth that, but now you can see that we just come in here. From draft, and it'll redo it. Hold on. Fill object from draft. It doesn't, it's not interactive, you know, so it jumps around. And then under normal circumstances, I just come in here and smooth it out. And if it continues to be there, I'm just going to add some material. Fill object from draft. So it's not, you know, that CAD solution, but at the same time, a CAD solution isn't going to do this on an organic model, right? So everyone always shows me, oh, well, you know, rhinos is so much easier. Yeah, it's because you're dealing with something that has 2 poly frames on it. Of course, it's going to be able to right. So you can just creep up on it. But honestly, I don't, you know, really draft angles these days because so many people use silicone molds. It's really metal mold issues, you know. Yeah, you just change this to 8 from draft. Even my thumb muscle hurts. It's just not the bluegrass way. Well, those are fairly common in my streams. I mean, I use these quite a bit. I mean, draft angle is, like I said, it's more for metal molds or, you know, hard molds. So there you can see your 8 degrees, right? Rather than continuously clicking to update your draft angles, why don't you use Draw Draft Analysis tool in the transition menu? In the transition menu. Oh, transformation menu. Where is it? Honestly, this is how I set it up when we were doing beta. This happens to me a lot often when I use something in beta and then they do something else. It's the button under local. Draw draft analysis. Oh, well, look at that. Who knew? Nice. That wasn't in the beta. Oh, that's great. Even better. Oh, and this is basing it off of the interesting. I like it. Who knew? Thank you. What we need to do is drag that out of there. Transform. Preferences. Config. Enable customize. Thank you. I had no idea that even existed. Like I said, you know, in beta, they're introducing the things, and you set your menus up for that, and you don't even think about it. You know, you're like, that's what I was using. It's got to be right, right? Oh, I know. And like I said, when they're like, I didn't use ZBrush forever because in the beta it was introduced, it wasn't working. And so, you know, in my brain, I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess it's cool, but it doesn't do crap I need it to do. And then one of my students was like, who was also in the beta, was like, Tomas, it works. I'm like, what? And when I tried it, I was like, what? It was like, oh, that's awesome. The other thing, yes, I'll give you one more tip here that's part of this live analysis thing, is from thickness, polypaint from thickness. And you set your minimum thickness and your maximum thickness here. And so I usually have it set for 1 mil, and then it's 5 mil. So anything under 1 millimeter is one color, anything over 5 millimeters is one color, and then it's broken up into tones. And I believe that is... analysis thickness. So red is under 1 millimeter, 1 to 2 mil, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. and then that's over a mil, right? And so you run thickness analysis. And so if you have something that's really thin and wiry, you can see if your wires are thick enough, right? The only issue with this is that it does it, you have to kind of learn to look at it because it's analyzing from all kinds of different directions. So it's not just thickness front to back, but it's thickness at any measurable point. Hold on, let this go and I'll show you. One sec. This isn't the best model to use, but you'll see what I mean. Roy, I really appreciate that. That's a great tool. I didn't even know that button existed. It's awesome. Does it work with thickness too? Do you know? We're about to find out, aren't we? All right, let's do this. Obviously, this is a little bigger snake hook. So no, it doesn't appear to be doing it live. From thickness, quality, min 1 mil, 1 5 mil. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, no, these analysis tools are really good, you know. Oh. I'm dying over here. Is that not this? I love it. I'm like, really? Hold on, let it. I just think this was outside my parameters because I have my maximum thickness set at 5 mil. It also might be that this little thing is on. So it's still thinking of this analysis as draft analysis, right? I have draft analysis on maybe. Yeah, I don't know why this is so chuggy. Well, it's so chuggy because it's, like I said, it's not just analyzing in one direction. It analyzes from, you know what? Hold on. I think this button is screwing us, honestly. Yeah. Because, see, this is still draft analysis. There we go. So you can see that. So you were saying, hold on, let's just hit this one more time and see if it goes quicker. Yeah, it was because it was doing draft analysis, live draft analysis and thickness analysis, I think, because this is going quicker than the last one. Oh, one sec, guys. Everybody gets to see a fat guy doing stretches. So as you can see here, we'll just talk about this one for a second. Hold on, keyboard. So where the thickness analysis really takes a little time to get used to what you're looking at, right? Is that it's measuring it in all directions, not just front to back, right? So as you can see here, what it's saying is, hold on, let me turn this on, boop. Boop. Is, you know, from here to here is 1 millimeter. And you can see why this is green, because, right, that's 3 millimeters, right? That's less than a millimeter. And here, you know, under a millimeter, 2 mil, 3, and you can see how it's blotchy because it's in between those, right? So, but here it's doing it from side to side, right? So when you're looking at this, if you're trying to see something like front to back, you know, you can see this is blue, you can see this is blue. You know that this is all thicker than this front to back, right? But this is giving you relative thicknesses as well, right? Because on this pinch, you can see that, right, it's that from there to there, it's 1 millimeter, not front to back, right? You can see how the edges, because it's going from there to there, right? It's going on each angle. The hole's going through it, the nose. Oops. So you have to kind of wrap your head a little bit more around the thickness analysis, but it's very helpful. I'm hurting bad. I really feel broken. Tonight when I get home, muscle relaxers in the hot tub, but not in that order. Hot tub, muscle relaxers, bed. All right. Fill object, boop. Now we're back to our little groover here. I don't know. Let's get back here. So those were a few, hopefully helpful tips for you there. Okay, we can delete that. Oh, wait. So if you activate polypaint thickness from under tool polypaint, tool polypaint, well, that's this. I've just pulled this out. Yes, no. Never take your muscle relaxers before you get in the hot tub. Get in the hot tub, beat your body up, go to bed, take your muscle relaxers. Very good. Good points all around. All right. What do we have here? Oh. I'm going to take you. Is that a duplicate? I'm going to delete you. You're out of here. That's what I'm looking for. Lower res, lower res. How do I make money, or how much money do I make? Well, it all depends on what you mean. For the most part right now, I've been making money. I've been doing sweat equity with a number of companies. And then I try to keep my freelance work down pretty low right now because I'm starting my own education platform. And it's lots and lots and lots of videos. So I've been trying to get all that done. So recently, I haven't been working a whole lot. I was working with a gentleman on, he's a fashion designer, and I've been working with him doing a line of fashion stuff. That was my ZBrush Masters stream. I broke down that collaboration and showed kind of what it takes to collaborate and how much work has to be done. And I hope he's okay. I have not heard from him in a month, and I'm a little worried about him. And so right now I earn most of my money from teaching. Sorry. Sorry, my mother. My mother has not been feeling well, so I have to respond to her. All right. Right on. Well, I'm glad that I can, I'm glad that you like the stream and that you gain stuff from it. That's why I'm streaming, That is the whole point of me streaming. So my question is, are we doing a typical sort of crown here? Or are we going to do something like sci-fi? Uninformed. Don't know yet. Oops. I see so much of the Gothic stuff recently that I've been trying to do slightly different things. Been trying to do slightly different things. I really like astronauts. Maybe we'll make an astronaut pearl crown ring thing. So as you can see, I never know what I'm doing before I start working on things. Well, that's not quite true, but it's pretty close to true. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, as you can see, I don't have any problem stopping what I'm doing and actually answering questions, because I really feel like this stream's more about you guys than about me accomplishing anything. So feel free to ask any questions you like, and I will do my best to answer them. I'm not necessarily the best person to answer, UVs or how to prepare your models for gaming and things like that. I'm really a manufacturer, so. But if you want to ask any questions about printing or preparing for printing or casting or any of that stuff, feel free to ask away. It's so funny. I get accused of doing a lot of Giger stuff, and I had the privilege of working with Giger when he was still alive, when I worked in the film industry. But I always find that, and I mean, he was a very big influence on my work, without a doubt, when I was young. Well, not that I've grown out of it. I mean, but it started when I was young. But I really think that Louis Sullivan was really my first inspiration, and I think that Louis Sullivan inspired Giger some. So I would say my work is a little bit more Louis Sullivan-y than Giger, even though I did take the linear repetition to guide the eye. It's something that Giger did really better than most. So I will say there are definitely parts of his work that definitely are integral parts of how I design now. But I really think my forms, when I'm thinking of my forms, I really think they come from Sullivan more than Giger. Well, my architectural forms, I mean, when you get into, face huggery looking things, obviously Giger's the guy. Yep, I stream every month. So Henry, do you know who Louis Sullivan is? So Louis Sullivan was an architect in the turn of the century. Well, here, let's look at Louis Sullivan. Tomorrow, 2021. Woo! There's old Louis. He's badass. Those good images. Oh no. Not old gothic stuff, my friend. Absolutely swirly bendiggly badassery. Hold on. Come on, give me better pictures. Give me better pictures. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, here we go. So, these were done at the turn of the century. So 1856 to 1924. He invented the modern skyscraper in Chicago, but this is the kind of stuff he did. And you can see that, Giger obviously saw this stuff, He was a really, really important Art Nouveau creator. But I mean, just look at this stuff. It's absolutely maddening. It just knocks my socks off. Oh, yeah. Oh, he is the one who said form follows function. I mean, he invented this stuff. I mean, people weren't doing this. This lunatic made this wackadoodle stuff. Hold on, I have to show you the tree bank. Where are you? I mean, tell me this isn't Giger-y. You can tell that he obviously saw this stuff, Oh, here we go. Look at this madness. Come on, give me a good picture here. Right? There's just no question. Him, Hans Ballmer was obviously inspiration. Yeah, no, hold on, let me see if I can find Louis Sullivan, Jewel box, bank, chandelier. This thing, when I saw this, I almost peed myself. I was just like, are you kidding me? Look at this. This is a chandelier. Are you kidding me? Look at that. Oh my God, he is so good. Holy Hannah. This dude just rocks me. His form and his fluidity, yet it's all insanely rigidly based on math. I mean, that's, you're getting all these architectural themes, but he was so anal. I mean, like his, here, let's do Louis Sullivan book. I can never remember the name of the book. For God's sake. Ornament and architecture. Let's look at images. I mean, you can kind of see it here. Images. This guy was just off his gourd. He was so funny. Hold on. But you can see that, I mean, everything he did was this insane architectural, I mean, it's based in math. All these organic forms are coming out of repetitive mathematic formulas. It is so mind-bending. And when I was a kid, I saw that, the front of that building that I showed you there. And I just stood there and stared at it. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what am I even looking at? And, just look at how this man thinks. Oh, it's a pentagon. It's a star. It's I mean, what's going on? Oh, he is just so outrageous. So this is where I really got a lot of my concepts of surface rhythm and flow. He's just, there are very few that are better. I mean, let's see. Oh, here we go. This is a good collection of crap. Yeah, I mean, just look at this stuff. He was off his rocker. How does she keep getting into my... You're not part of my thing. Yeah, this thing. I mean, that window changed my life. I mean, look at that. I mean, are you kidding me? What? All this stuff is just so awesome. So I'm a big early Art Nouveau fan. And I really get a lot of my initial conceptualization of form and shape from this stuff. I mean, look at that thing. God, it's gorgeous. And in person, they're just, look at these tiles, his tile work. Everything he does is just so good. Right there, buddy. Right? I mean, he's my idol. He's my hero. And then, Winsor McCay. I think Winsor McCay really, there are very few people who capture movement in, he did Little Nemo and Slumberland. And then, Mobius, his form and color, just his capacity to capture motion. Yeah, I was told that for my my education platform, I need to make a video about my artistic inspiration and how I transferred that to what I do. I'm out of focus? Mm-mm. Am I in focus? Yeah, it looks like I'm in focus. All right. I assume I'm back in focus. Yeah. I'm a Cthulhuian blobby thing. I just love Lovecraft. I just wish he wasn't such a hateful jerk, because he was a great writer. Okay, W. No. Whenever you do stuff through the gizmo, you have to turn your symmetry and stuff off. It doesn't like that. It doesn't like it. From thickness button is over here under poly paint. So like if you're, it's probably over here. Sorry, my menus are flipped around. So under tool, under poly paint, you have from draft. So that's your draft angle. From thickness is your thickness, right? And then if you're trying to set your under preferences analysis, when you set your max thickness, right? Just remember when you set your colors, right, this is 6. Since these are 8 colors, I set my max thickness, oh, that should be 6. Max thickness is, these things are killing me. I keep forgetting that I put them right here, and I keep scooting up and jamming. I have the same mount at home, different mic, but same mount, and I keep slamming my head into them. Grr. So as you notice, I have max thickness is 6, right? So how you have to think about your colors, right, is the first color is anything below your first thing, right? So minimum thickness I have set at 1 millimeter, right? So when we come over here, anything below 1 millimeter is red, right? So that's 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters, 2 millimeters to 3 millimeters, 3 millimeters to 4 millimeters, 5 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm completely, I don't know how I keep getting wonky. So this is 5 to 6 millimeters is purple. And then E, anything over 6 millimeters is blue. So depending on how many of these you select, and depending on what you select your minimum and maximum thickness is, it breaks it up into these, right? So the first one's always anything under your minimum. The last one is anything over your minimum. And then these divide out to, 1 millimeter, 2. So like if I had these if I had my max thickness set at 12 millimeters, that's 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, right? So that's, instead of 1 millimeter, it'd be 2. So that's 1 to 3, 3 to 5. You get what I'm saying, right? Make sense? Oh no, sorry. I've pulled these all out. This is my custom UI. Hey, Crocious, how's it going? I hope you are doing well today. Anything exciting and new in your world? Remember, anyone who has any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm here for you. Well, everything I do is set to world scale. I mean, I always work in scale. Oh, here's something else you may not know. As you can see, I'm smoothing. I'm sure you guys get this as well, where you get these like one little specks that don't work. So I don't know why this hasn't set in this. I've saved this so many times. minimum brush connection, it is actually under smooth brush modifiers, and you'll see minimum connected points. If you change that to 1, I have it pulled out here because sometimes I like to change it on other brushes. 1, and then it'll get those little pokey spots. Hold on, what was I answering? No, I'm here for the questions. So, okay. So I always work in scale, okay? So one thing that you should know if you don't know, and that is the internal scale of ZBrush is millimeters. So when, let's go WY. So now we're in the transpose. In the transpose tool, I have my transpose tool set to preferences, transpose units. And I think it comes like this now. I've had this as my preset for so many years, I have no idea anymore. But so unit scale 1, minor ticks per unit 10, major tick 1. So what I've just told this is that this is, my units are 1 millimeter because a unit in ZBrush is a millimeter. I want 10 ticks within that millimeter, and I want there to be a big tick every millimeter. So I can measure tenths of millimeters here, right? I can go like this. And as I look up here, that is 0.526 units. So I know that's millimeters. So I very rarely set my scene scale. But for those of you who don't trust units, let's just come over here to star, frame. You can go under Scale Master, create 1 unit helper, make sure that you have 1 millimeter selected, 1 unit helper, boop. And so now that's 1 millimeter. Let's kill this guy. One unit helper, sliders to subtool, and see your 1,1999997. Okay, that's 300,000ths of a millimeter off. That's 1 millimeter. It's just how these, where they divide the decimal points. That's why if you use update size ratios, sometimes, see, this is saying it's 1 millimeter. So it's not that, oh, I'm getting different measurements. ZBrush has no accurate scale because I got different numbers. Ah! No, you are 300,000ths of a millimeter difference here. So anyone who tells me that ZBrush isn't accurate is insane, right? Because I don't know anybody who's measuring to hundredths of thousands. It's just, it's rounding point, okay? So we're happy with this. So we go set scene scale. It double checks that it's doing what you want it to do. Also, this is a very good way of converting. Like if you're, like 1 millimeter is 0.039 inch, right? So this does, if you're looking for other conversions, this is a way to get that. So we go, I want this to be 1 millimeter. It is 1 millimeter. And now when I go to my thing, I drag this over here, it snaps to those points. You can see it's 0.99999 millimeters, not units. So if you feel more comfortable seeing millimeters, you can set scene scale. I very rarely bother, only because I know a unit's a millimeter. So when I drag this out, I know that my little points here are to scale. So ZBrush's internal scale is millimeters. Have a good one, Andreas. Yeah, I don't know crap about fiber mesh. Only because I'm trying to do printing. So we did a little bit of it with a guy when I was helping him work on his miniatures, but sorry, I'm not very good. That's not something I can super help you with. I wish it was. I've sculpted a form on a ring shank and I want the area around it to be removed. No. Here. So right here, let's just divide this up. Or let's just turn this into... No, that's not what I was doing. All right. Boop, boop. Where my symmetry? Oh, that wasn't. That last part wasn't in the center of the world, I see. All right, let's try this again. Because I know the element you're looking for is a four-winged butterfly. I can feel it. So you spent your time and you sculpted this element on the side of a ring. Is this what I'm understanding? And you're like, well, I don't want to, I'm pretty happy with this and I don't want to have to resculpt it. So what you've done is you come in and you have masked around it. Am I understanding this correctly? So what I would probably do is this. I would probably extract this. Come to here. Accept. Nope, accept. And now I would backface mask my masking tool. Come back in, eliminate the back side. So our front side's still masked. W, I'd pull this up. No. Pull this down. Make sure it's thick enough. Make sure you're going through the ring. We haven't gotten all the way through the ring yet. Come up here and just... You're not trying to save the ring, right? Now, obviously that wasn't perfectly masked, but you're going to get the idea. Remesh. Dun, dun, dun. So now I have that. It is going through the shank. Crap, it's still not through the shank. Here, let's just do this. Extender. That way we get a straight extension. Now it's through the shank. There's no distortion. Take this. Come over here. New folder. Drag this up into here. Make that start. Make that cutout. Transparency needs to be turned off. Let's turn on live Boolean just to look and see what we got. Make sure it got everything you wanted it to get. It looks like it. Turn that off. Boolean folder. What's in this thing? Probably has a hole in it. One sec. Because I wasn't being very careful. Close holes. Ooh. Something weird just happened there. Let's dynamesh that first. When you extend, I turned that, we have just one poly surface going into multiple, so we're getting a weird intersection. So remesh by dynamesh. I'm going to take it down from 1,000,000. So now, it's still thinking. No. That was sloppy. Delete that. Boolean folder. Being a pain in my butt. Close holes. Is that what you want me to do? Wow, what's not solid? See, I did a crappy mask job, so that was real sloppy, but that should... I'm assuming it's this one. One sec. Analyze subtool. Not watertight. This is our culprit. Because of this. It's because when I pulled this out, see how thin these edges were? Because I was not being careful. I was trying to be quick. Here, let's just... The disadvantage of trying to be quick. Uh-oh. Did I just kill us? That's what I did do, isn't it, Roy? What is this doing? I don't know what I pushed. All right. You're killing me here. Not waiting for it. Hey, hey. Sorry, we'll do it again. My bad. ZBrush 2021 tomorrow, 11 a.m. Woo! Wow, they didn't know that they were going to get so much advertising off my inability to create a mesh. Let's just go here. I'll just try to do this better. Um, So there are two different ways you can do this. One, come in, mask around your groover. Boop, 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 boop. Right. Okay. Right. Subtool, extract, double's fine. Extract. Why am I not seeing my preview? Extract. Oh, there it is. Accept. Like I said, come in here. Oh, we got it on two sides. Hide this. Get rid of this. Turn your symmetry off. Delete hidden. Frame. Come back here. First thing, smooth this because you get a little growth from your masking, right? So come back in and smooth this out first from both sides. And that'll take it a little bit back closer to your original form. Now, turn backface masking on your mask brush. Unmask this. And then just get W. You probably want to go as such. See, because that was a crappy edge, we get that crappy. No. Because I had back face masking on. I didn't get all of this. And this is a little low resolution to do this. I probably would have dynameshed it just to get it clean, but once again, we're trying to be quick here. All right, so now dynamesh it. You know what? I don't know when I'd ever use it either. I think that if you're creating bezels, maybe, your stone's setting there, you mask it, and then you extrude around that. You could create seats or something. I didn't play with it enough to really wrap my head around uses, but I was thinking seats or something like that might work. Or if you were trying to punch holes in something, maybe, like where the pearl is, maybe that'll create I haven't used it, so I'm not sure. Let us check. Close holes. Boy, you are just being a... Oh, no, there it is. Okay, so I use Kitco metal pricing to check my holes. It's just easier. I would come in and smooth all that crap out, obviously. And now, just oops. Make sure you're all the way through, right? See, we have these weird hole things here where you would spend more time doing this, I hope. But you can see it was solid, but I stretched it. Oh, okay, well, it's working. And so now, start, cut. Here's actually a cool little trick if you didn't know it. Turn on select all, and then anything that's visible when you go new folder, enter, it puts... Did I not have it selected? Is it masked? Oh, it was masked. That's why it didn't come in. All right. So if you do that, here, let's split those up again. Turn that on. Come down here and do new folder. Well, normally it'll put all those in the same. It'll ask, do you want to put all those in the same folder? You go, yeah. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's going to be one of those days. So you put that up there, make that cut, make sure that's off. Boolean folder, boop. And there you go. You now have that cut out. But another way of going about this is doing it the opposite direction. So turn that off Q. Like if you're just trying to salvage this part, just come in, mask it off this way. And I obviously wasn't being super careful there, but you get the point. Right. And then if you come into extract, turn double off, make your thickness -2, and then extract. No, not -2. -0.02. Let's go 0.04. Let's get a little thicker there. Enter, extract, accept. And now you have, everybody. So see, now you have your part. And if you've lost some resolution, all you have to do is come back in. First of all, let's get rid of this. Delete hidden. Get our little groover here. And you can see this is only 86,000. Just divide this up. Turn this back on. hide that. And here, let's put some detail on this just so we have something to see here. Right, so now all you do is come here, come back to your project brush, boop, and you can either hold down Alt and just bring this up and it'll project to your form. You can project all, but that'll stretch your edges out. So I find just coming in and using your project brush. I find that turning transparency on is a little better because now you can see as it comes up and meets that surface, right? So now you have your tool with a certain thickness. Right, you can change that, you can turn it flat, whatever. But does that make sense? So you can do it either way. It does seem to be one of those days a lot recently. All right. Yeah, 2021 fixes quite a few things. It's pretty damn awesome. Oh, it's not gonna fix my back though. I'm dying over here. Cool. All right. Remember, anyone, feel free to ask any questions. That's why I'm here. I'm sorry I'm all kvetchy, crabby, and broken today. Wow, did I? This is not the quick save I wanted. Let's try that one. Look at that. None of those have their subtools. Interesting. Okay. That's weird why it dumped its subtools. I do not know. But I did discover we want to stretch this out, so this is fine. Nope, nope. Nope. Okay. Let's delete higher. Let's come in here and see if we can just add some things. That would be nice. Just give me a little geo in here. All right, close enough to spit on. Smooth that out. Use my project brush. All right, close enough. Yeah. You can't have them pointing directly at each other. It doesn't like that. All right, there we go. Close enough to spit on. Divide, 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 divide. Divide, divide, boop. Quadrify. Take a mesh and turn it into quads? Is that what you're looking for? Sorry, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, wouldn't that be ZBrush? Sorry, I'm not really a CAD person. I don't. ZBrush is like the only program I use, so I have to. If you explain what you wanted to do, I'll tell you. Alrighty. Still feeling like I've been beat up. Holy Hannah. I don't think I'm making 4 o'clock tonight, man. I think I'm a little too abused for that game. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, to be deadly honest, it might, but I don't. Not that I know of. It's funny, I really am just a creature of my workflow. And my workflow is so backwards compared to everyone else's. It's so funny. I've been watching, the ZBrush master streams, and I realize that I really am I use ZBrush rather backwards than a lot of people. I think it's funny. So once again, anybody have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. Can't say that I'll always have the answer, but we'll give it a shot. Well, that's it. Exactly. Well, I would say for manufacturing workflow, I think that if you're building models for print, like you're building them for animation, I think you're wasting a lot of time and energy in some ways, because what we need out of geometry compared to visual effects, games and films and stuff, are very, very, very different. And I think that I don't think people wrap their heads around that quite. Because at the end of the day, most of the people out there streaming are monsters and figures and stuff like that, or monsters and people and portraits and stuff. And it's a very different need and very different demands from your geometry than if you're going to printing or manufacturing, So I think there are some workflow issues that are relative to, each work or job, obviously. But yeah, I agree with you. If you know the tools, you're going to be able to create a workflow that does what you need it to do. And it's funny, I started 16 years ago. So luckily these tools got introduced every year, as opposed to now having to sit down and wrap my head around all of these tools, because ZBrush didn't do a bunch of the stuff it does now 16 years ago. So I think I feel lucky having, not have to come across all of the changes just in one upgrade, or wrap my head around all of the stuff that this thing does in one sitting. Well, I mean, I'm a classically trained sculptor. I was a sculptor for pushing 30 years before I touched ZBrush. So I think in some ways that was a huge advantage for me, being a tool user, But no, I taught myself until I ran into just some fundamental issues I couldn't wrap my head around. And I bought Meet Meyer's CD set. And I ran through that like once or twice, because there was just, I didn't use computer programs. I didn't know. And so, there were a handful of things I just didn't understand. And I watched this video a couple times. And I picked up the handful of things I didn't understand, like push edit button, those important things. And yeah, then I just developed, because printing wasn't something that people were doing when I started out of ZBrush. I got the first jewelry model out of ZBrush. Everyone thought it was a rendering. And it was actually milled, and everyone was like, "How'd you do it?" Because people just weren't doing that. It was a graphics program, not a manufacturing program. But, they've been completely open and excited about, getting their program to do everything. So it's been a great joy trying to get this program to do the things I want it to do. And luckily, they're pretty open to, if there's a need, they're pretty darn good about addressing the needs of their users. Hello, Jupiter. Yeah, my class is a really specific way of thinking. And the other thing my class is really about is trying to get you to, develop your own voice, right? So it's not just technique. It's a lot of, I'm trying to get you to think about how you're creating models and why. It's because, I can train anyone to copy me or copy someone else, but what's going to earn you money is if you're doing what you do. And yeah, a lot of it really is just learning to think about how you're developing your models. I think I block up a little differently than a lot of people. So there is a difference in process, I would say. But you can ask Mikey's. He was in my class. Great. That's good to know. Because I think I try to get people to think about ZBrush a little differently than most instructors. Only because we're teaching different things. It's not, you know. Yeah, she's doing okay. She's just, I tell her I'm streaming and she doesn't pay any attention. She's just chattering away. If I could get her to watch the stream, she would know when I was working. You know, moms don't necessarily understand that this is my work. Well, kind of. I'm not getting paid for it, but you know what I mean. Okay, hold on. Can you explain? Okay, so unlike a lot of other, here we go, when we start talking about how I use ZBrush differently. Like, I will use Dynamesh, but I will almost never stay in a Dynamesh unless it's later on in the process. Like, I know that I'm about to start decimating, or I'm about to start, you know, finishing my model. I might leave it as a decimated model or a Dynamesh model. But I want a quad model with as many subdivision levels as I can get into it. Because what that allows me to do, because you'll hear a lot of people go, Tomas, you sculpt in high poly models, and I can't ever get my models to be smooth at a high poly model. And that's because they just Dynamesh to a high poly model and might have one subdivision level. So as you can see, I don't, like when I start sculpting, I'm just throwing a lot of material down, right? You can see that I'm doing these hash marks because as a physical sculptor, I used sculpting tools, and you use a rake tool, and that rake tool lays linears onto your surface so you can identify what your surface is doing, right? Because if this is super smooth, right, you can see here, it's just smooth. So it's hard to identify exactly what the surface is doing, especially if you're trying to do like transitions between concave and convex curves. So you're doing complex compound curves and things like that. When it's a smooth surface, it's hard to see that. Well, you can see I'm only at 6 million polys, and if you smooth this, and I always use smooth stronger, well, they're right. You can't smooth this out, right? But under normal circumstances, I have a quad model that has at least 7 to 9 subdivision levels. So that allows me to lower my subdivision levels, come down here, and I'm just going to relax this mesh back and down, right? Just higher res and smooth this out. Right? Higher res, smooth that out. Higher res, smooth that out. So as you can see, I can very easily smooth my surfaces out because I can go back and relax those primary meshes early on. The other thing this allows me to do is if at these high resolution, I have, hold on, let's, let me see. Do you see date? Let's go D. David's Dino Skin. There we go. All right, so now I have this texture. Let's make it a little bit more dramatic. Right, I've come in and now I know that I have this really nice dino texture that we've put on this, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's my helmet. I'm super stoked. And then they come in and they're like, oh, well, I need this to be, you know, farther out. And I want a ridge in here. And you're like, oh, you're killing me. So all I have to do is lower my resolution. And I'm just going to grab move. And I'm going to bulge this out some. Make kind of horns. Now the thing you want to pay attention to when you're doing this, if you're stretching, is you want to try to get these to be as square as possible, right? Because when you distort your mesh, it's going to reproject per quad. So you want to try to keep the quads as evenly spaced as possible. Now, of course, because you're stretching this, you're going to get some change. But now let's go all the way back up. You can see that in all reality, my patterns didn't distort that much. Unlike if I were to grab move and pull, you could see that I couldn't even pretend to get there without a lot of distortion. So this allows me to do two things. One, sculpt at high resolution. Two, be able to smooth my high resolution surfaces and control the mesh. And then do posing and positioning and physical changes to the model later on after I've sculpted at high resolution without completely destroying my detail. So being able to have quad meshes that start low and go high, like if you get 7 to 9 subdivision levels, you're doing good because you have a lot of separation. And right, once again, we're up here, I'm at 6 million. Even with smooth stronger, I'll never get a smooth surface, right? It'll get rid of some of that, but I'm never going to be able to fundamentally smooth that surface. Drop 3 levels. High res, and you see it sort of reprojects it, right? So you need to just come through off each one, high res. Get it? But you see I have so much more control over my mesh with quads than I do with a large Dynamesh. So that is the reason that if I ever get my mesh to a point where I can't use it, or I need to do a Dynamesh of some sort, right? Like let's say I know that I'm going to do, you know, I want these sort of ribby things that I'm going to need to use snake hooks, right? So now I know I'm going to duplicate W Dynamesh. And on this, I'm going to use this Dynamesh so I can just stroke it. Mask this off. Grab my snake hooks. Turn on Sculptress Pro. And then this way I can kind of do these things and get them to plunge. Get them to plunge. Get in there. right? Get them where I kind of want them, inflate them a bit. Stroke. And now that has redynameshed with the boop, 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 boop. Right, oops. Well, that's fine. And so now, whoa, it's the one problem with Sculptures Pro. It can get very aggressive. Right. And then from here, I would Z-remesh this. So I have control over my mesh once again, right? So there are things that you need to do with Z-remesh. I mean, with Dynamesh and, Sculptures Pro or something like that. That's the only way to do that. I mean, I guess you could go all the way back down, delete, and use ZModeler to build things like this, which is another option, obviously. But still, you divide back up and reproject, and now you have right control over your model. And right. I'm a big Mayan fan. Of course, Southeast Asia is awesome. Japan and China are staggering, but the Scythians are awesome. Just, I don't know, you can find something pretty spectacular everywhere if you look, But the Scythians are awesome. I'm a big Scythian fan. Holy Hannah. Sorry. One second. Cramping up again. I apologize, guys. Oh, man. Whew. I am feeling a beat. Now I moved. Now I got to pee. Be right back. Brutal. All right. All right. Oh, Zlukowski's awesome. Yeah. Very nice. I'm a big Mayan fan. I spent quite a bit of time down there, and until you see the stuff, it's so impressive. Man, and just knowing that all those mounds that are grass covered are just more temples is just amazing. Angkor Wat's staggering, you know. The Indians, a lot of the old Indian stuff. Jeez. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Did we crash again? Did I forget something? Oh no, we smoothed it out. I'm like, why does this not look like what I was working on? Getting your keyboard the right direction is important. Old Country Buffet. All right. Come on. And if you're not making sound effects, you're not trying. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. Even though, sadly, I think all the sound effects I'm making today are... It's funny, I stretch and stuff, so I'm not used to my body hurting this bad. It's really weird. I feel like I've been hit by a car. All I had was a soda. I don't think I've ever been so abused by drinking anything in my life. This will prove. Coke's the devil. No, man, I'm down for country buffet. Those rocking chairs are awesome. You saw my rocking chair, right? Hold on. Oh, where's my art station? How is that my art station doesn't come up first? There's something wrong with that. There you go. Don't you see that out front of, isn't it Country Buffet where all the rocking chairs out front? I approve as long as the buffet's in this country. Oh, man. No, the whole exactly. I I understand the concept of working in low res because a lot of people, especially when they're doing figures and stuff, they'll be doing something and then all of a sudden they're working on the wrinkles on a finger and they don't have the silhouette done. And so I get it. It takes a little discipline to work in high res. But I mean, for jewelry stuff, I find it, you're redoing things like 15 times if you start in low res. Here, I can come in, I can start to define my forms and shapes. I can develop a vocabulary quickly. I can find, little moments that are going to support, my design theme. And still have all the advantages of low res sculpting, But I like seeing where my lines are. I like, I block up pretty fast. I'm like, don't waste time and block up. Get in there and then get out and start sculpting, At least that's what I try to do and try to get my students to do because, I think that getting a kinetic form and finding little elements early on help you tune what you're working on. Hey, Forge, how's it going? Yeah, as long as you retain your subdivision levels so you can smooth out and, do all the things that need to be done in low res. But I don't, I'm not throwing away that capacity because I'm retaining my subdivision levels. Man, chatty Kathy all of a sudden. It's funny, she's probably watching. She's like, oh, I see how you are, chatty Kathy. And the other nice thing about high res is it allows me to leave my hash strokes in. So I'm using it very much like a rake brush, so I can evaluate my surfaces, and you can't do that in low res. Is my video being weird? Am I in 8-bit world? This place has fiber optic. It should be okay. Unless I'm doing something that's choking out OBS, which happens. I forgot to run it in administrator mode. When you run OBS in admin mode, it puts OBS, it prioritizes OBS's asset usage more than ZBrush's. Good. God only knows I don't want to be Minecraft. Actually, I don't know anything about Minecraft. I'm just saying that. No. I'm like, why is that doing nothing? Whew. All right, what do we got here? I don't know, maybe go back to Gothic crowns and stuff. I was just seeing what we got here. Maybe make something a little bit more astronaut-y. I have a list of casting facilities that I like. But actually, where there's a good list? If you do Formlabs recommended casting houses, they did actually, I think they had all but 3 that I have. These are good casting facilities that aren't necessarily super expensive. So if you go to Formlabs and just do a Google search, Formlabs recommended casting, this is a pretty good list. I mean, Jewelcraft is awesome. I don't know, Frank. Converge Manufacturing is great. Techform is one of the best casting facilities in the country. But they do a lot of stainless steel, titanium, cobalt chrome. They're really a platinum caster. They don't do a lot of silver, but stainless steel they do. And they're awesome. They really are a fantastic casting facility. Carrera in New York is a very good casting facility. So this is a very good list. And many of these aren't, heinously expensive, Yeah. Of course. Anything I can do. It's almost 11. I think I might call it fairly early tonight because I just feel rather abused. I usually give so much time. I'm not used to quitting before like 2, 3 a.m., but I gotta go get muscle relaxers and try not to die over here. It's horrible. I'm being melodramatic. I'm sorry. You never know when you need to do some casting in Tokyo. What's really funny, I used to have a caster in Tokyo because it was easier for me to send stuff there and have it manufactured there as opposed to sending it through customs. I used to have a big market in Japan when I was doing my work, you know. I will get back to making my work again. I want to get this education thing up and going so I can get all you guys into it and start that. And then I can concentrate on manufacturing some, I think. Oh, I think there are resins that will plate, yes. And I think for demo stuff, I think it's great. I have nothing against plating for, creating pieces that people can see and touch. And then when they order stuff, you have them pay for the mold and the first manufacturing. And then that way, the first piece, you're not making a ton of money off of it, but you have a mold created, and now you can, manufacture those pieces, right? Not really. I mean, you have most plating is anywhere between 3 and 7 microns thick. So that's not really changing your tolerances, especially if you're doing like organic stuff. It's not an issue. Not an issue. Don't worry, though. You'll find someone who will make an issue of it, but it's not actually an issue. Oh, my finger just doesn't fit. It's 3 microns too small. No, you just put on 20 pounds because it's Thanksgiving Day. It happens. It's one of the dangers of bridal is that there's a lot of stress eating. And when you're ordering a ring 4-5 months ahead of the wedding, we've had many a bride or groom not be able to fit in their ring anymore because of stress eating. And they're like, you made this too small. It was like, no, you put on 25 pounds. Don't even try to blame it on me. Yeah, we're getting in that range. Old space helmets kind of look like old motorcycle helmets at the beginning. I hope none of you are going to Sturgis. Hey, let's get around 200,000 people with no masks. No one's going to notice anything. It'll be great. What is wrong with people? This country makes me want to, yeah. 200,000 people. At least. They're figuring, because normally it's over 500,000. But they're figuring a lot of people won't go. So the estimated attendance is 250,000. Ugh. No, exactly. If they just stayed there, it'd be fine, but they don't. They go from all over. So now, everyone's stuck dealing with their complete, absolute, and utter just. I have no understanding how not wearing a mask has become like this thing of pride here. It's just like, you can't make me wear a mask. Well, they can make you wear shoes. Of course they can. What do you mean they can't make you wear the? But they do affect those people. In fact, they go out and punch those people. I swear to God. Oh my God. It's just so absurd. And it's like, how is that like the anchor of national pride? What is it? New Zealand has been COVID free for 100 days. I mean, that's something to be proud of. Not, hey, think about it this way. This country went to war over 1,200 deaths. I think it wasn't the World Trade Center like 1,200 deaths, something in that vein. And we're at what, like 106? We're over 160,000 deaths. Yeah, but it is what it is. Hey. Freedom. Freedom isn't free. Cost $1.05. I think that's one of the greatest movies ever made. Team America. Too good. Right? No, our government has completely failed. It's crazy. I mean, checks and balances don't exist anymore. Every regulatory commission, he put someone in who expressly is the opposite of that. I mean, like the guy who's now in charge of the post office, who's gutting the post office, so we can't do mail-in ballots, right? I think he owns stock in like UPS or FedEx or something like that. It's just like, oh yeah, that's who you want in charge of the postal service. It's like, what is going on? Right? Come on forth, say the motherfucking day, yeah. Yeah. And I love it's unsafe to play college sports. The pro sports teams are having a hard time dealing with it being safe to play. But hey, it's completely okay to send your kids to elementary school. We live in an insane place. All right. It's 11 o'clock, and I know I'm being a complete quitter, but I feel horribly abused. What did I miss? Yeah, so to create hard edges, I use SK Trim Polish because most of your trim or polish brushes roll over edges. And SK Trim Polish doesn't do that so much. So, like, I'll come in, and I mean, obviously, this isn't the ideal point, but, right, come in. And you can see that I can come in here and see how it won't roll over that edge, really. So it allows you to come in and make really nice, sharp forms. Now, let's say I want that to be a really flat plane. Come in here, turn on Lazy Nezumi, get a line in here. Oh. Control 1. I'm going to rock this until it's at the angle that I want it to be at. Oops. Go to Trim Front. Right. So there are all kinds of ways you can get to those planar. You can create fairly sharp edges. Trim front. Well, right. Planar flatten. Planar. So you can get, you know, hard surfacing with brushes for sure. No. It'll stay in the Dropbox. It's fine. Sorry, if I was staying later, I'd probably go through it. I really have to quit because it's going to take me a half hour to shut down and then a half hour to get home. So I'm not going to get home till midnight, and I feel really abused. So I think that I'm going to call it. I did my 3 hours. I know I feel like I'm letting everyone down after only 3 hours. But I'm hurting. All right, kind and gentle folk. I will see you next week. Remember that tomorrow Sneak Peek 2021, 11 Pacific Standard Time. It'll be awesome. And let's see. Yeah, no, of course. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, this is weird. I don't usually feel this way. I don't know if I drank enough Coke that I burned my stomach or something weird, but I feel very beat up. So I'm calling it at 3 hours. What a slacker I am. And then I'll see you next week. And I'm sure I better feel better before next week or I'm in trouble. Okie dokie. Have a great evening. Watch the preview tomorrow. It'll be good. And yeah, that's all I got. Sorry, YouTube, for canceling you. Okay. See ya.